Hello, in this video we're looking at issue 39 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, adding a Kataphron to our Mechanicus forces, and the battle for Tsiphos Prime is beginning to draw to a close. Hello, I'm Mike, and this is where we are, the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And we're bringing you issue 39 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine today. And this issue we got the second of three Kataphron Destroyers. This one actually is built with a different weapon, so if you'd like to see that in action, you can do so using the timecode in the description for the battle report or the chapter bars. Looking through the issue first, we have a battle record for the Tsiphos battle zones, because the battle for Tsiphos is getting to a close as the Necrons have managed to breach Bastion Primus using their trans-dimensional technology there, allowing them to teleport in. This is for the mission in today's episode. We need to record who's the winner and who's the loser, because that decides who's the attacker and defender in the next game. I have a little bit here once we decide the fate of Tsiphos, so I won't go into that. And then a short story here about the Blood Angels fighting against the Tyranid invasion of their homeworld Baal. And then background on more of the Forge Worlds. Quickly go over these. We have Triplex Foul, who are particularly keen on recovering lost technology. And though this is beneficial, tech priests from Mars now accompany tech priests from Triplex Foul, so they also get access to the technology recovered. We have Deimos, formerly orbited Mars, but now orbits Titan and supplies the Grey Knights specifically. The equipment produced there is heavily blessed to protect it from chaos corruption. We have Vos Prime, which makes use of a vast asteroid field. The resources from that allow it to field large numbers of vehicles and robots. And then Griffon 4, which, when it was brought back into the Imperial fold, controlled its own little miniature empire, and continued to do so, but was recently lost to a Tyranid hive fleet. We have the build guide for the Kataphron, which is fairly similar to the other one. The sprue is slightly different, so you will need the previous sprue just for the hooks on the front, essentially. And it is being built with the phosphor blaster on the left arm rather than the flamer, and the Grav-Cannon rather than the plasma. And then the painting guide for it is essentially the same, probably slightly quicker to do because the Grav-Cannon is basically the same colour as all the other mechanical parts. There's no blue bits for the plasma. So there's the finished destroyer there, and I'll hand you over to Will so you can take us through today's battle.
So before we get to our game, we've just got a little bit more of the core rules to look at. This is all stuff we've seen before. We're continuing our look at the fight phase, the rules for selecting targets for melee attacks, and then selecting which weapon to use. The only thing to note here that if you've got multiple models making attacks with the same weapon, you need to resolve all of that type of weapon before moving on to a different type. And then over the page there's the rules for consolidating, which again we've seen all before. And then rules for the morale phase, which is also things we've all seen before, so this is about morale tests and how to make them, and the order you make them in, and some more on that, and then combat attrition tests, and then finally your unit coherency checks, which are taken at the end of the morale phase for units that are not in coherency. But again, we've covered all that before. So now we have the background for our game. As the battle for the moon of Tsiphos draws to its conclusion, the Necrons have finally managed to breach the defences of Bastion Primus, and they are trying to open some portals in order to bring in reinforcements to seal their victory. But the Adeptus Mechanicus forces are not going to let them do that without a fight. So they've got these rare pieces of technology called portal disruptors, which should hopefully disrupt the extra-dimensional portals that they're hoping to use to bring in reinforcements. So Tech Priest Dominus is leading some forces to try and do just that, whereas the Necron forces are led by a Technomancer who has opened these portals and is hoping to bring in many reinforcements. So we have the next mission in our scout mission pack, Place the Disruptors. So the Necrons have the Technomancer, who's accompanied by 10 Necron warriors, 5 Immortals, and our Tombblade model. Whereas the Adeptus Mechanicus have the Tech Priest Dominus, Tech Priest Engine Seer, 10 Skitarii Rangers, and 2 Kataphron Destroyers. So a unit of 2, including the one we got with this issue. The battle mat is with printed terrain side set up as normal, but the deployments are 3 inches on from the short edges, with the 2 objectives quarter of the way along the long edges and 5 inches on from them on the Necron end of the board, whereas the Adeptus Mechanicus starting on the other end, and the Necron player deploys a unit first. And then our mission objective is an endgame objective called Portal Disruptors, which is simply that at the end of the 5th battle round, the Adeptus Mechanicus player wins if they control one or both objectives. Otherwise, the Necrons are victorious as they manage to activate their portals. So that's all very straightforward. We'll get the board set up and the forces deployed, and then we'll get into the game. So here's the board with our armies deployed and the 2 objectives set up. You can see objective 2 from up here in the ruin on the right hand side. Objective 1 is actually right underneath the heliotrope reactor, so it would be very difficult to measure who's in range of that until the end of the game without removing the piece of terrain entirely. Having a look at the Necron deployment, since we deployed a unit first, we've got the Warriors on the left-hand side as you see it, the Technomancer in the middle, and then the 5 Immortals and the Tombblade hopefully shielded by this building from fire. And then on the Adeptus Mechanicus end...
Yeah, I've got the Skitarii with the engines here behind them, then the Dominus just to the side, and then the 2 Kataphrons below him.
And as usual, we're rolling off to see who gets to decide who goes first. It's cocked. Let's try again. I've rolled a 3.
I also rolled a 3. So
re-roll. Roll a 5.
3 again, so Necrons get to choose.
And I think I'm going to go first, so we'll be on to Necron's turn 1.
Now, before the first battle round, I'm going to make use of the Skitarii Rangers 3-inch Ranger move, just to get them a little further up the board. And then at the start of the battle round, I'm going to pick the Bulwark Imperative as my Doctrine Imperative, and my Cantor is going to be Shroud Psalm. So the 2 Tech Priests and the Kataphrons have the benefits of light cover, while the Skitarii have +1 save and -3 inches of movement.
And I don't get to make use of the command protocols rules for the Necrons because I don't have any nobles in my army. The Technomancer does not have the noble keyword, so they're of no relevance in this game, unfortunately. So in the first movement phase, the Immortals advance. The reason for that is that they wouldn't be able to do a great deal of shooting from where they were, so they're better off getting themselves into the building and hopefully out of line of sight. I think I've covered all the angles. The Technomancer has joined them in there. He's not in range to shoot anything, and the Tombblade is just sort of poking around the edge of the building here. It'll be able to see the destroyers to shoot at, but hopefully obscured from return fire. The Warriors have no such option though, so they're just marching up like this, and they're going to take some shots. But we'll do the Tombblade first, because the only thing it can see is the Kataphron Destroyers, and in the likely event the Warriors destroy one. Still quite a long way away, so only 2 shots with its twin Gauss Blaster hitting on 3s. They both hit. They win on 4s, because these things are toughness 5. Nothing. And then we've got 10 shots with the Warriors at the same target, hitting on 3s. We've got 7 hits. Winning on 5s though. We've got 1 wound with an AP of -1, which is going to be negated by Shroud Psalm.
Yeah, 3+ save. Made it.
So that is it for the first Necron turn. On to Adeptus Mechanicus turn 1.
So here in the middle of the board, the 2 Kataphrons have just trundled up with the Tech Priests following along behind. And over on the other side, the Skitarii have moved. They can only move 3 inches, so some of them are going to get into the building, the rest have to stay on the outside. And then the Engineer has advanced, and he's going to get ahead of the Skitarii. I'm going to shoot with the Skitarii first. The only thing they can see is the Warriors. So I'll start with the galvanic rifles. We've got 6, so 12 shots, hitting on 4s because we moved, re-rolling 1s because Tech Priest Dominus is nearby. Very consistent. 2 more hits. So that's going to be 8 hits, wounding on 4s, 4 wounds.
4 or 5+ saves. Made 2, so 2 die, but we'll do reanimations after they finish the rest of their guns.
Yep. I'll do the arc rifle next. It's got 1 shot hitting on the 3 rolling 1s. Roll the 1. It hits. Wounds on the 3. It does. AP -2.
So 6 to save. Nope. 3 dead.
2 shots from the plasma caliber, not supercharging. On 3s rolling 1s. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. 1 dead.
That's 4 dead so far.
Then the sniper, 1 shot hitting on a 4. Missed.
So we'll leave these 2 at the back here, and then a couple more, and then the reanimation. Coming back on 5s, re-rolling 1s. We've got 2 back and 2 1s. Just 2 back. I'll just put them back where they were.
Next I'll do the 2 Kataphrons. They're going to put all of their guns into the Warriors as well. The Flamer would be in range of the Immortals, but you can't see any. So I'll roll the number of shots for the plasma. So it's D6, minimum 3. Not supercharging because it's wound on 2s, but I don't care about that. 1 shot goes up to 3. Then I'm going to roll all of these with the Grav, because they're all going to be wounding on the same roll.
Yeah, the Grav is strength 5, AP -3. The plasma is strength 7, AP -3, so it's all the same. 1 damage.
So it's going to be 8 shots hitting on 4s, rolling 1s. 3 hits. And these kill on 3s.
Yep.
3 dead. And then the heavy phosphor, 1 shot hitting on a 4, rolling 1s, he hits. Also wounds on a 3, it does. AP -1.
So this has a 5+ save, which I made, so that was 3 dead total. So another 3 reanimations. Oh, they all fail. So I'll just take 3 off the back.
Yeah, next I'll do the Dominus, is the last one to shoot, also going to shoot the Warriors. 3 shots with the Volkite Blaster, hitting on 3s, getting 2. Wounding on 3s, 6s do 2 mortal wounds in addition. It's just 1 wound.
With no armor penetration, so 4+, which I failed, so he does kill 1 with that.
And the Phosphor Serpenter, 1 shot hitting on a 2, hits. Wounds on a 3, it does.
5+. No, He kills a further 2. I'll just do the animations. No, neither of them come back. We'll just lose another 2. But all the shooting, the warriors lost 7 in total this turn, so they do have to take a morale test. It's one of 4+, another one will run away. That's a 4, so 1 runs away, and then the remaining 2 will run away on 1s and 2s because of the penalty for being below half strength on combat attrition tests. Oh, wow, double 2. So they all run away. That's the end of the warriors. So yeah, 1 runs away and then the other 2 decide to follow. That will be the end of Adeptus Mechanicus turn 1, so we'll be on to Necrons turn 2. So sadly no warriors to reanimate with the Technomancer, but in the movement phase the Immortals and the Technomancer are going to jump onto the upper floor like this, and the Tomb Blade is just going to continue to edge round the corner so it can see things but hopefully be hidden from a lot of return fire. And in the shooting phase the Immortals will open up against the Kataphron Destroyers. They are all within 15, so 10 shots hitting on 3s, 7 hits. Wounding on 4s, only 3 with an AP of -2.
3 5+ saves. Oh, made 2. I'll put the wound on the Grav-Cannon because it's going to be wounding Immortals on 4s.
I'll do the Tomb Blade next at the same target. Same gun, but 4 shots hitting on 3s, and 2, and 4s, just the 1.
5+. Failed. Down to 1 wound on the Grav.
And I'll do the Technomancer straight away. He has 3 shots hitting on 3s. 2 hits, also wounding on 4s, AP -2. Nothing. But that's all I have to do in my turn, so on to Adeptus Mechanicus turn 2.
So in my movement phase, the engines here ran. You only run a 1 this time, so he's getting a bit tired, moving towards the objective. And Skitarii have moved forward up to support him as well. The 2 Kataphrons have moved up, and the Tech Priest is going to move alongside, so he's within 6 inches of the Skitarii and the Kataphrons. And at the end of the movement phase, he's going to restore D3 wounds to that Kataphron. So D3, 3, so it's back up to full health. So I'll start the shooting phase with the Dominus first, because he's going to shoot the Tomb Blade. He has 3 shots hitting on 3s, because he gets the -1 from moving and doesn't stack with the -1 it already has. And I can reroll 1, but I don't need to. And then wounding on 3s, because it's strength 6, 6s are mortal wounds. There's 2 mortal wounds, so it's dead. Next I'll do the Kataphrons. Going to be shooting at the Immortals, because they're the only target. We'll have to do these separately now, so we've got D6 shots with the heavy plasma. I'm not supercharging again. 3. So 3 shots hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1s, and I'll re-roll that 3 with the Benediction to get 3 hits. And these wound on 3s, getting only 1.
With a 5+ save, because we've got a building providing cover, failed, so that's 1 dead Immortal so far.
5 shots with the Grav on 4s, re-rolling 1s, getting 3. Only wounding on 4s, because it's only strength 5. 2 wounds, also AP -3.
Yeah.
I forgot to re-roll the wound roll with the plasma, so I'll use it now on the Grav. So that's 3 wounds with the Grav.
Because they have a 3+ save, these are actually damage 2, but it doesn't matter against Immortals, so we've just got our 5+ saves being in cover. Failed 2, so another 2 dead.
And there's D6 shots, D6 +2 with the Cognis Flamer. 6. Wounding on 5s, getting 2.
No AP here, so 2+ in cover. Oh, double 6.
And then 2 shots from the Phosphor Blaster on 4s, rolling 1s. Missed.
3 dead overall. Do any of them come back on 5s? Oh, triple 1. I suppose we will just lose these ones who are a bit further away.
And then I've got the Skitarii Rangers. The sniper will shoot at the Technomancer, which is what you do anyway. And I think I'll just put the rest into the Immortals, because I just want to get rid of them. I think they're more of a threat than he is. I'll do the Blast Pistol first from the Alpha. D3 shots for 2. Hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. Roll the 1. 2 hits, wounding on 4s. Nope. Do the Arc Rifle next. 2 shots on 2s, rerolling 1s. They both hit. 3s. 1. AP -2.
4+ in cover. Nope. 1 left.
And the Plasma, which I'm not supercharging. 2s, rerolling 1s. Oof. 1 hit. 3s. Wounds.
5+. Nope, that's the Immortals dead.
All the galvanic rifles are wasted, but then we have the Arquebus from the sniper hitting on a 3, rolling 1s. 1. Still missed.
So that will be the end of the turn. Obviously no morale test necessary because they're all dead. And I think we can safely concede at that point, because I don't know how on earth the Technomancer is supposed to hold 2 objectives for another 3 whole battle rounds against a completely undamaged Adeptus Mechanicus army. So we'll call that an Adeptus Mechanicus victory, and we'll recap the game for you now. Well, that was the game for issue 39 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. How did you think that one went?
Well, it probably can't really go any better for me, considering I didn't take any damage.
No, I think I did 2 wounds to you in that game and you healed them both.
Yeah, I think you got quite unlucky to lose those 3 remaining warriors.
Yeah, if I'd just had 1 warrior there, I would have been able to bring D3 back with a Technomancer, which might not have been that much, but it would have at least given me more of a fighting chance, because then when you were able to turn all your firepower on the Immortals, they just disappeared as well, and that was it, basically.
And it probably didn't help that starting on the short edges, I have the big range advantage. Even if I'd gone first, I think my amount of shooting would have been exactly the same. And your Tomb Blade, I think in every single game you've had it, has been mortal wounded by the Dominus.
Unfortunately so. Yeah, I mean, the Tomb Blade in this game was never going to be that useful, I don't think, because it's fast, and I needed to stand still and defend some objectives.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could have actually done with another character. It seems a bit of an odd army choice. Like, if you'd had the Overlord, and some of those warriors hadn't run away, you could use the Resurrection Orb and get at least another D3 back.
And also, if I'd had the Overlord, I would have been able to have the command protocols, which, although in the previous issue I said I didn't think they were amazing, it's better to have them than not have them at all. It would have allowed me to get either benefits of cover in my first turn if I hadn't moved, which I probably would have made you go first, or reroll a reanimation protocol, that might have helped, and then improve my shooting in my second turn.
Yeah, I really don't think I'd change my strategy at all. I mean, my strategy for the Tech Priest engines here was to just sprint for one of the objectives just to be annoying, because he doesn't have much shooting. He can repair the Kataphrons, but the Dominus was already there, so...
Yeah, and if there had been some warriors left, he could have charged them and tied them up, because they would be beating him in melee, and then, given where I ended up positioning my units, he could have instead hidden behind the Hemotrope reactor. And because you only need to hold one of the 2 objectives, I would have had to remove him from there somehow, which would have probably been very difficult.
Although I think I probably used Shroud Psalm and the Bulwark Imperative too early. Probably should have saved that for the second turn, seeing as I probably should have been able to guess that your shooting would have been limited since we're so far away.
Yeah, my shooting was fairly limited in my first turn by comparison, because I wanted to get the Immortals hidden, which is more important than shooting with them, I think, at that kind of range. I was trying to make sure they got into rapid fire range without taking casualties, which I did, but unfortunately the warriors at that range, shooting at toughness 5 Kataphron Destroyers, just couldn't do any damage.
Maybe this force is actually unbalanced.
I've had a lot of games where I've had 10 warriors and 5 Immortals, and they're steadily becoming less effective as the Adeptus Mechanicus forces get more and more firepower, actually.
Oh, we got the new Kataphron. I think the Grav-Cannon is going to be pretty handy against Necrons. It's probably better than the Plasma against small units of warriors. Probably actually better in most cases, since it gets 5 shots.
Yeah, on average it does have more shots than the Plasma, and as long as it's wounding on the same number, it's better in that instance.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of the Necron units that have multiple wounds are going to be at least toughness 5, so it's only going to be wounding on 4s.
Those are situations where you might want to just supercharge the Plasma and be wounding on 3s anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a safer bet than the Plasma. Ironically, it's probably most ideal for taking out Space Marines.
Yes, because having the 2 damage against 3+ save is perfect.
Yeah, and the Phosphor Blast is just not anything to write home about. It's just an extra gun. It's strength 5, 2 shots if you're close enough. I mean, it's got a longer range than the Flamer, so I guess it's a little bit of extra firepower, but yeah.
Yeah, really, unfortunately, the biggest effect of having that different gun is it's going to take longer to shoot with that unit in every game they turn up.
They'll just use different coloured dice for it.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think that's actually all there is to say, really, for this episode and this issue. So if you enjoyed this video, then do leave a like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts, particularly if you tried this game. It'd be interesting to know if you managed to do any better as the Necrons. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.